Hello and welcome to the Perpetual Traffic Podcast. This is your host, Ralph Burns, the founder and CEO of Tier 11, alongside
Lauren Schwartz.
Lauren Schwartz, the other Lauren. That's right, not Lauren Petrullo. This is the second in a series of just me and her talking about beauty and wellness. And I love these shows because today's a little bit of a shorter show, but I think it's very topical, especially if you're listening in and you're not even in the beauty and wellness space, but you're also interested in what's going on in the world. We've done a number of shows just on this. Like the most Googled phrase in the last 3 weeks is what we're talking about today is tariffs or tariff and the impact on the beauty and wellness space. And obviously, you've got a tremendous amount of experience as a creative in that space, but also dealing with beauty and wellness brands. It's obviously an area that we do extremely well. If you're interested in learning more about that, you can always check that out over at tier11beauty.com. It's tier 11 with the actual number in it this time, as opposed to the tier 11 that is not the number, because that guy just wants like $1 million for that URL. So check that out over at tier11beauty.com. The impact that you're seeing just in general on beauty and wellness, and then how that sort of impacts creative, how that impacts how you position. Like, what are you seeing right now? What's hot? Like, what's the thing that people should be looking out for? Not necessarily just only in beauty and wellness, but also maybe even for all products.
Yeah. So again, tariffs are obviously a really big topic right now. And before the show, we were talking that it may not be impacting you right now, but it's something that is going to impact you as you start to maybe repurchase or reorder or things like that. It's more so that if you already have the product in stock, great, you don't have to worry about it. But we've seen several brands who are needing to refill backstock inventory. And now the tariff is 145% now. So it's obviously going to create this huge markup. So with any sort of product, whether that's apparel or whatever, you have to think within your beauty space. Not only is it just the actual physical product, but it's your ingredients. Your ingredients are definitely going to be impacted to a higher price. Your packaging is going to be a higher price now, therefore making everything within your product just a higher price overall. So we may not be seeing it fully yet, but definitely I think as brands are starting to replenish their stock, I definitely think they're going to have to start to either increase their prices or really start to understand how they're going to focus and shift their messaging so that they're letting their audience know or customers know that we are going to have to start doing this sort of stuff. Like this is the reality of what's happening right now.
Right. Whether or not it stays as is, or whether or not it's just a ploy. We've certainly talked about this on previous shows. You and I have very strong opinions on this, which we'll leave out at this point in time. But we are not fans of this ridiculous policy. So there you go. It's absolutely insane because, I mean, I talk to dozens of businesses every single week. I'm on most of our business development calls. You're talking to clients like that are tier 11 clients, and also some of the ones that are prospective tier 11 clients. Like everybody's talking about this. And I think the biggest thing is nobody really knows how to project out their budgets because they don't know, the numbers keep changing. However, we had a client that unfortunately realized that tariffs are going to basically add $4 million to their bottom line, and a much larger organization. However, they had already seen like their first container come in that was in the tariffs that haven't even been impacted by the 145% increase. Like they were 10 to 25%. And that's what they were trying to project out. And now with 145%, they're like, how am I going to make this up? I mean, I have to pass that on to the consumer. That's what idiot POTUS doesn't understand. So I guess this is becoming a political show. But the point is, it's like the tariff isn't paid by the country that you're tariffing. It's paid by the company importing it. And that cost is passed on to, hello, you and me, or they figure out a way around it. So that's really the biggest thing. So it's not like an immediate impact. And I think that's a really good point, is that you might not see it in your business yet, but maybe when you reorder. I was speaking with a prospective client yesterday. They're like, thank God in January, we ordered 70% of our inventory for the entire year. So for our busiest season, because we have to load up. And so impact of tariffs on them, minimal in 2025. However, if you're a beauty and wellness brand and you need mineral oil or whatever it happens to be, and it's sourced in a country that's tariffed, you're going to see increased prices. And what are they going to do at that point? Do you pass that on to the consumer? Do you eat that cost? Like, how do you do it? And that's really sort of the question on a lot of businesses' minds right now.
Yeah. And I think, again, like the biggest thing I think right now, especially within your creative, is that it may not necessarily be the actual like visual of your creative, but I do feel like being honest and understanding like where your consumer is coming from, but then also as a business. I mean, you are still a business, there are still people behind it, there are still a lot of things that are real. And so I think that leading with more just honest type angles and honest type copy, especially for your customers, is actually something that is good to address now. I mean, we're all living it. We all know what's going on. We all know the situation we could be in. And so, just some of the clients that we've been talking to have just kind of been like, how can we address this in a way that's not obviously going to scare people away, but just be honest with them? I've actually been seeing a lot of ads within the beauty and wellness space where they specifically say, like, tariffs, a huge static image that calls it out specifically, talking about, like, yes, we know we have tariffs. Obviously, we don't want to increase prices, but this is the reality of where we're at this point. So, just some of the messaging that you could potentially address is like, we've never marked up in 3 years. Now we might potentially have to mark up our prices. Like, I think just being more open and just, again, acknowledging the fact that this is a situation we're in, I think has more leverage in your creative than not talking about it because everybody knows what's going on. So I think just the honest route and the honesty route is a much better way to address it than not addressing it at all.
Right. So, how do you do that when it comes to creative? How do you visually represent a shift to address it, but then also position your product in the right way? Like, what's your sense right now? Especially, let's use beauty and wellness as the example, because obviously it's part of the series here. So, maybe start with that.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I have actually gotten served ads that specifically are focused on beauty, and they still take what is working for them. So, whether that's a static ad and just talking about the pricing, like a relatable, honest copy could be like, yes, prices are up, but your skincare doesn't have to suffer, like things like that. Like, we're not raising prices, we're raising standards. Those type of things, like, I think could be interesting to talk about. But then again, like showcasing the statics that work for you. I've also seen UGC of people in their warehouse being completely honest and saying, yes, like, we're all being affected by tariffs. This is why you should still obviously get your skincare. It's not a luxury anymore, it's what you need. And so just kind of switching your messaging of, again, like, yes, we understand that this is happening, but how is it that we could shift our messaging of not necessarily talking about luxury and the price, but more just like it's essential. This is essential wellness product that you still need in your everyday life, no matter if the price goes up or down.
Mhm. So positioning away from luxury and positioning more as this is something that is not just something if you have some extra cash, but it's something that you need on a daily basis.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a part of your essential either self care routine, skincare routine, diet routine, supplement, whatever it is that you need, that it's not positioning it as it's just a nice to have. It's more of it's an essential.
Right. And then the creative, like video, image, that kind of thing, like what would be your recommendation there in order to help represent that or reinforce that concept?
Yeah. So again, I still think just going with the honest angle, a lot of the ads that have been seeing have been a lot of people who work at the brand and they're just sharing the information that's kind of a behind the scenes, like it's very real, it's very raw, it's very organic, talking about how this is what's going on. This is what we're seeing, but we're here for you. We understand, like we know that this is happening. And again, I think that kind of raw, authentic content still does well regardless of whether we're in a tariff situation or not. Like that sort of just honest, relatable content just works really well.
Hmm. Which goes back to some of the stuff that we talked about in the first part of this series is having the right type of content creator that can relay the message in a genuine and relatable way. I guess I used relate to twice in that sentence. But the point is that like address the elephant that's in the room in this particular case. Have you seen examples of UGC specifically talking about that as of yet? Or even started in on projects where that is a part of like the overall messaging through the content creator?
Yeah, actually, so I did save one. I could share my screen. And this was from a clothing brand.
Here to talk about tariffs because they are
Terrifying.
We are scared too. I'm Lauren, design director here at Oliver Logan.
I'm Olivia. I'm the social media manager here at Oliver Logan.
As of now, we are not raising our prices. We might have to eventually, but right now we're not. Instead, we are actually putting our bestsellers on sale.
20 to 60% off some of our best sellers. If there's anything you've been eyeing, we would suggest getting it now rather than later because
Who
we don't know.
knows?
All right, y'all. Love you.
So yeah, I think it's one of those things, again, it's authentic, it's relatable. It's not only does behind the scenes content work really well, but also, again, like they don't know what's happening. They don't know what's going to happen. This could change tomorrow. This could change today. Like, who knows? We're all kind of up in the air. And I think just being honest and relatable and showcasing that is something that's super authentic and, again, so relatable. So I think this sort of tactic is great. But then also their messaging too. They're being real, they're being honest. But I also think that this sort of retention play is also something that can be really good if you already have loyal customers. If they have back stock of something, get the product now. We have no idea if we're going to be able to reorder it. Your prices could increase. All these things that you can kind of start to shift in not only your messaging, but just your strategy overall. Like, what's going to be the best strategy for you as a brand going forward? So I think this sort of content is just starting to pop up more and more as this starts to unfold.
Right, right. And if you weren't watching that, I mean, obviously you can watch it over at retrotraffic.com/YouTube over on our YouTube channel and subscribe to that as well. But it was basically, I assume those are the two founders.
One was the social media manager and one was the head of product.
Head of product. Okay. So people that are high up understand this sort of thing, obviously. And they were just standing in their warehouse.
Yeah. Very simple, very authentic.
And good for them if all that stuff that was in the warehouse was stuff that they had ordered pre-tariff.
Yeah.
So, like, they're smart. They're saying, hey, maybe they're not as impacted. Going back to our original sort of point here. And this is always something that's fascinated me because you guys get me to do this. Like, we did this before you came on. It's like the founder's story, the founder coming on. I hate when I see commercials like it's only like the founder and the CEO, and he's not good on camera, and it's an ego gratification thing. But let's set those crappy commercials on network TV aside. Is a founder story, is that an idea where you're addressing it head on? Obviously, there you've got head of product, you've got head of social media. Is that founder story part something that is relevant here? Would you recommend that to people who are listening who maybe are like, well, maybe I can just do that kind of thing, and I'm not really even like the face of the brand right now, but maybe now's the time to do it? Would that be a viable strategy?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, again, like we're all in this unknown phase, and the more relatable, authentic content you can talk about and produce, I think is going to go so much further than just, again, your normal sort of content strategy. Because again, we don't know what's going to happen, and people want to see the people behind the brand. Everybody, regardless of whether you like it or not, founder content always works. It will always work. Behind the scenes content always works, especially in your paid strategy. I always say like that sort of content resonates with your audience because people want to see how relatable you actually are. They don't just want to know that you're someone behind this big business, basically.
Behind the curtain, like the Wizard of Oz. Yeah. I mean, maybe on that, I think there's a lot of founders and owner operators that listen to this show. They are the marketing department in essence. How do you do that? Like, what's your recommendation? Because I remember when you guys, whenever I'm traveling, like, oh, do BTS. I'm like, what the hell's BTS? It's behind the scenes stuff. By the way, I was on the last trip. I think Allison was pissed at me because I didn't do any BTS. But anyway, so if you've never done this before, and you are a founder and you're listening, or maybe you're the director of marketing, and you're like, hey, we should insert this into our organic social here. What would your recommendation be? Is it just that simple, like the example that we showed? Or would there be other things like you're addressing it head on? In their case, they're giving a discount. So that's sort of a separate question. But like, what kind of content should you maybe focus on if you are in that position?
Yeah. I mean, again, anytime we talk to founders and we talk to them about doing any sort of founder content, I always say again, set up your camera and just talk. I mean, at some point you have to just get comfortable talking in front of the camera. And It's never going to be perfect. And again, I think that's why it works so well, is because it's so relatable. But you just need to get past that. I'm nervous. I don't want to do it. I feel silly doing this. Like, I just always tell them, just set up a camera, start talking. If you find things that you want to discuss, maybe stop and then go back. Like, again, that's why you have editors. That's why you can edit. Like, you can cut out whatever you want. You can make it as short or long as you want to talk about. But again, at the end of the day, that real authentic content of you just sitting down at your desk and talking about what's the reality of your situation goes such a long way, as opposed to making this high end, great video of your content. Like, the relatable content always outperforms, I think, any sort of high end content when it comes to founder stories or founder videos.
So if you're in the beauty and wellness space, would it be like, hey, there's a couple of tips I can give to founders, having done a lot of founder content, but is it maybe going through, hey, this is a good time for me to talk, like if your pitch for your product, for example, is it's all natural or it's organic or it's sourced in these exotic locations, you can even maybe go through like your list of ingredients maybe and say, hey, this might be impacted, but this isn't. And this is the largest part of like where we're, so you're sort of selling and being transparent about the product itself, but also sort of explaining this is kind of how it works behind the scenes. Like if you see a price increase for us, it's because of these reasons. And that doesn't necessarily mean abandon the brand.
I mean, again, like in some of these like skincare products, the ingredients are sourced in different areas. And so the reason why they're sourced in these areas is because it's better there, it's higher quality, like all of these things. Like, again, those are things that you can discuss with your audience and let them know this is why it costs this much. And we want to still deliver a high value of a product for you. But again, this is the reality of kind of where we're at. So if we do have to increase prices, it's because of this, but this product has all these benefits, you know? So just calling those things out, still highlighting your brand, still highlighting the product, and then again, highlighting all the ingredients that are in the product, again, makes it still a great selling point, but then also just clarifies like why this product, what it costs, you know?
Yeah, like you could even go through, like just as an example, like, all right, I've got like acid-free vitamin C, I've got niacinamide, I've got like even getting to that level, like ceramides, like all these ingredients that are in beauty and wellness. I don't know those off the top of my head, by the way. I just Googled beauty
I was like,
ingredients.
that's pretty
Just being transparent here. So I'm like, what actually are in beauty stuff? Like moisturizers? No, but stuff, something like that. Like, oh, hey, we source that from here or whatever it is. And this is the reason why. And give an explanation, because it's like that type of transparency is what works. Like transparency works because everyone's got the bullshit-o-meter sky high on Instagram and on Facebook and on all the channels. So something as simple as that might actually be a good idea.
Yeah, definitely. Again, authenticity. Authenticity wins over anything, I think.
And for founders who are scared, I'm not going to say shitless, but I guess I already said crap like earlier today. So we're getting like the bad rating on Apple Podcasts. But for founders who are scared about this sort of stuff, like there is a great app. It's called the Teleprompter app. It is so good. I use it sometimes just because I'm like, I want to make sure I hit on these bullet points. And it's like the red. We'll leave a link in the show notes because it's so amazing. And you can just use it like your hand, like right in front of you or whatever it happens to be. We do it on a stand. So if I get something from our social team, little tip, I'll bullet out what I want to say, and then I'll give it like some space, and you can make it faster or slower, or you can script out the whole thing, and you can make it come across really naturally. So that's like the little hack that I use is like, I didn't go to acting school, but we do a lot of this stuff. And I think maybe now's the time, if you are a social media manager, product manager, founder, CEO, to get in front of the camera and address your audience in really real terms like this. And I think that's a really solid strategy. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, I think it's something that is, again, I think it'll go a lot further than just still trying to, again, avoid the elephant in the room. So I think as long as you just come out and just say, like, this is where we're at, I think more people will understand, and I think it'll just resonate. And I think it'll be better in case you do have to increase your prices. Like, they already know what's coming, they already know what's happening. And this is kind of like where we're at.
Yeah. So you're prepping not only new customers, new clients, but also your list. I mean, those are the people
Right.
that are obviously that are increasing your LTV and your,
Yeah.
your AOV to a certain degree. So, I mean, definitely do that. And one big tip, if you're doing this, if you're like, oh my God, I've never done a video before, hold it high. If you go low, makes you look like you got like the turkey chin. Like even if you're
Yeah.
skinny, it's like it's horrible. So get it up over your eyes. A little tip for you there. So anything more to add? Because I think this is super helpful for a lot of people with an uncertain environment here. Any last words here?
Yeah, I mean, I think one last thing I would just recommend is just, again, your customers that you already have, just making sure that you're retaining them. I think a retention and an LTV strategy is still super important. And if there's any way to kind of new buyers or recent buyers, like maybe there is a way to kind of upsell or cross sell some things, bundle things together. How can you continuously focus on just the people you do already have, in your retention strategy? And how can you just continue to keep that loyalty there? Because again, I think right now we're still kind of in the unknown, and new consumers are struggling a little bit more than older consumers in terms of like how they're purchasing and how they're buying. So I would definitely say like really focus on your loyalty and retention when it comes to your paid strategy.
Would you recommend, as a caveat to that, a discount now to stock up in case of a later date? Because I mean, obviously, folks, as they reorder and it's coming in one of those tariffed countries, obviously costs are going to increase. So would that be a wise, like a flash sale, like a tariff flash sale, kind of sort of like that content that you just showed here? They were doing 20 to 60% off. That's pretty That's a hell of a discount. I mean, what would be your recommendation there, and how would you sort of position that? And when I'm talking about like social, we're talking about like email too, because this is all together, like how you post on your socials, but also like to your list when you blast out your emails. Like, what would your recommendation be there?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think like I do think having some sort of sales strategy is great, again, because again, we don't know what the future is going to hold. Like who knows if the prices could increase significantly. So if you do really like the product, you really want to continue to purchase it. If let's say for skincare, for instance, or makeup or health or wellness, if you know that it's going to possibly go up, stock up. It's like you could still have it, you're still going to use it. And you know that if I don't want to pay an increased price, if I have more of it, at least then I already have it in stock, basically. So yeah, I definitely think that would work.
On discounts, just in general in the beauty and wellness space, like obviously it really depends on cost of goods sold and the infrastructure of the company and everything else. And 60% is a lot. Like that rings to me like it's a Black Friday, Cyber Monday kind of discount. Like what type of discount? Because everyone has like that 10% off thing that pops up on their site. Like what's a discount in your opinion in that space that people are like, oh, that's not a crappy discount. That's a really good discount, but not so big because you still have to, you need profit at the end of the day here. Like where's that sweet spot in beauty and wellness? Or is it just a hard question to ask?
I mean, I always think that 20% off, especially for like makeup products, that's a great discount. Like if I saw 20% off for a makeup product, I'd be like, yeah, sold. Get me like 10 of those. Same with like supplements. Like if it was, I would say like 30%. Again, 30% off a supplement is a great price. But again, you're not pricing yourself or discounting yourself so high that it just seems like you're, again, like I don't want to say cheap, but it just is kind of that sweet spot of like these are good percentages off that still make it feel relevant, still gives you like a good price that you're paying, but not like cheapening the brand.
Right. Right. I mean, whenever I'm on, any sort of call where people ask me that question, I say, don't ever discount as much as you possibly can, especially for a new customer, only at last resort. Like maybe it's like your third retargeting ad to they've added to cart. You can't get them over the hump. And that's a very small percentage of people overall. But if at all, like sell it for what you sell it for, don't discount too much. I think in this case, 20, 30%. Are you talking about new customers? Are you talking really about sending your list like, hey, this is our special to you guys because you're loyal?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, that I should have prefaced that. I wouldn't say top of funnel or like your new prospects. I would say more of like your, again, like retention, loyalty, like retargeting, bottom of funnel. Those are the people you want to start hitting with some discounts.
Make them feel special, make them feel we're in this together.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's okay to show some cracks. Like, that makes you real.
Yes, exactly.
I always think of this as like, don't ever position yourself as like, I've got everything and there's nothing wrong with my product. Every product has faults. And we used to call this, I was in the pharmaceutical industry for years and years, calling on doctors for decades. And it was like, always have fair balance. And when I first heard that term, I'm like, fair balance? What do you mean? Tell them some of the side effects at the end. Because otherwise, even if it's a rash and 0.01%, just make sure, your patients with rheumatoid arthritis don't take this. It's like, it's okay to show some cracks here a bit and be a little bit more transparent. You end up selling more because it's genuine, organic, and that's what works in creative.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you always see those commercials where it's like, take this pill, but here's the 20 side effects that could go on. So you're like, okay, eventually maybe this could happen, but at least I know. So
I love the guy who talks really fast at the end with
yeah.
all the things that you could get.
Yes.
This could cause heart disease, just all the things, emphysema, renal failure. Yeah, and he talks really, really fast. I used to be that guy that did those disclaimers, by the way, my first
Oh, really?
advertising job. Yeah, when they were like the MSRP for I would do all the car ads for
I can
these
see that
local
actually.
dealerships. I would be the guy that, and then they would speed up the tape. They had to physically speed it up so they could get it in. Like the MSRP, 2.5%. Oh, Massachusetts
Yeah.
only, New Jersey residents don't apply, all that stuff. So anyway, just one more thing right there.
Yeah, I can see it though. That's why you have a podcast.
That's
It
right.
makes
That's
sense.
right. That's what I did. So anyway, well, this is awesome. I think a lot of people are going to get a lot from this, even if you're not a beauty and wellness brand, but ways in which to tariff-proof your business as much as possible. And this is obviously something that we're going to continue to discuss here on the show ongoing as this situation evolves or devolves or hopefully goes away.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
hopefully.
thinking. When I meditate in the morning, I'm like, tariffs will go away. I know,
Yeah.
So, all right, amazing. Of course, if you want our help, head on over to tier11beauty.com. You actually get Lauren Schwartz as your strategist. She's the one. She is it. So if you're liking these shows and you want our help, whether you're a beauty and wellness brand or not, check us out at tier11.com, of course. So amazing to have you on the show. We're going to have you on a couple more here as this series continues and evolves, and super appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, thank you.
So wherever you listen to podcasts, make sure that you do leave us a rating and a review. We're seeing comments now on Spotify, which is great. Somebody actually picked up an edit issue that we had. Not that we make any edit problems here, Kevin. But anyway, so somebody on a comment actually picked that up and left a nice rating. So we're transparent too. We make some mistakes. So wherever you listen to podcasts, please leave us a rating or review. That helps us get to a wider audience, of course. And obviously all the show notes will be over at perpetualtraffic.com. So on behalf of my amazing guest host, Lauren Schwartz, until next show, see ya.